All right, welcome to the That's Good Sports podcast. I'm Brandon Perna here with the one and the only William Keys.
What's going on?
Is your actual name William or is it just Will?
No, it's William. Yeah.
I'm going to call you William from now on.
Please don't.
This is the That's Good Sports podcast where we talk about the Broncos for half and the NFL for half. First half is about the Broncos. Second half is about the NFL. Today, with Broncos news, we'll talk about Paxton Lynch's demotion, Chad Kelly's expectations going into this next preseason game. Adam Gotsis, his rape case has been dropped. And the Broncos signed linebacker A.J. Johnson, who was fighting a rape case for 3 years. So that's going to be really not fun to talk about. Carlos Henderson, Broncos versus Bears, what we're going to be watching for, and injuries heading into that game. And with NFL news, whoa, what the hell was that? With NFL news, which rookies impressed us this preseason? Jalen Ramsey, our favorite quote machine. Ben Roethlisberger, a little Vikings, Jags, Aaron Donald, Khalil Mack. What the fuck are they still doing? Hard Knocks. And maybe a little bit of Lions concessions talks. I don't know.
Yeah, no, people were asking for Lions concession prices, and hey, we just give the people what they want. So
that's what we do.
We're here to deliver.
We deliver what you ask for. So that's a lot of shit we're going to cover today. And if you haven't liked this podcast on iTunes, please give us a 5-star rating on iTunes. Their ratings matter, and we're on Podbean. You can download the podcast there to listen to it like a regular podcast. Link is in the description to do that. Please give us a good rating on iTunes. We want 1 million. You're back from vacation. You're out of Santa Cruz.
I'm back. I'm not going on vacation again until who knows? I might never go on vacation again. So I'm a workaholic.
Good. What else do you do?
Crank out content.
And write.
Shit.
Will has been helping me on my Instagram. We're updating that every day with NFL news.
Yeah, check out the gram.
So please follow both of us on Instagram, at Brandon Perna, at Will Keys 6. But Will's writing really funny captions for me. We're becoming a news organization, basically.
Yeah.
So check us out on Insta. Tell us if we suck or not. But Will, so Will writes articles for me. He helps me with this podcast. He's a funny writer. That's why he's here.
Some would say, yeah.
What is your dream, Will? What is your dream job? I don't care about what your personal dreams are, like if you want a family or any of that shit. I'm talking career.
Wow. Military. I was gonna say military dictator, but it's a little dark. I gave that up a while ago. Yeah, a little too close to home. Maybe like to own a minor league baseball team.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with journalism and writing, which you are pursuing.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, why would I go to school for 4 years to get a stupid piece of paper with the word journalism on it when I could just, make a lot of money and buy like the Modesto nuts or something?
Right. Are your parents rich enough for you to be able to buy it, or do you got to get outside money?
No, absolutely not. No, this is why I work for you. I'm just saving up money.
Yeah, and I'm paying – if anybody wants to know, I'm paying Will
minor league
jack
baseball money
for his help every week.
Well, you know what? We're on the ground floor. Our goal is to take down ESPN, basically every other sports media outlet, right?
Right.
And, we want – what's ESPN on the dial, like 724 if you have like Xfinity, that's the HD channel. We want the That's Good Sports Network on 724, right. 725, 726. We want the whole block of programming basically by 2025.
Easy goal. What is your favorite like site to get news? Because like there's so many right now. You got ESPN, you have the NFL Network, you've got Barstool, you've got the Ringer, you've got Deadspin, you've got all this shit. Where do you usually go?
All right. For just news, I'm either like a Twitter guy or I'll go on Reddit for like NFL news, NFL, NBA, sometimes baseball news. If I really just want headlines and no like commentary, I'll scroll through Pro Football Talk before I feel dirty. Those are the worst commenters on the planet. And yeah, if I'm looking for a quick laugh, I'll go to Barstool occasionally. Although I think their work has suffered a little bit over the last couple of years.
Right. Yeah, I can't. You know how many emails I've sent them? I've sent them at least
join the club.
40 or 50 emails, and it's like I don't love what they do, but I think they're a good fit for what I do, and their platform is way bigger than mine. But it's like maybe I should just try to become my own version of them. But I'm not business savvy. You know what I mean? I just
we need to hire
videos.
Yeah, we need to hire a CEO. Okay, eventually.
If my first employee, and I'm doing it in quotes for anybody listening, is you, Will. I don't know if this is gonna. If this
We're
is
fucked.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, this is going down the tubes if that's the case. So if anybody listening has CEO experience for a major, sports media outlet,
angel investors, we're looking.
Willing to work for free for maybe a little bit. I don't know if that
really
that applies to anybody ever.
The two things I need are like a social media manager and a video editor.
Yes. I know there's a ton of people with video editing skills.
Yeah, but it's hard because I don't trust anybody like I trust myself. But the last thing I want to do is edit me talking about fucking shit that I just wrote about all day and shot. And it's like, I don't know. It's like the hardest part of the day is finishing that last doing the edit. But it's the thing like it's easiest for me because I've done it for like 12 fucking years. So, Whoa, what was that noise?
Keep getting stupid notifications. You know what? All right. Well, we're just going to hope that doesn't happen again.
All right, let's jump into Broncos then.
Yeah.
Fucking notification jerk.
Segue. I think that was
Please comment. Will's a notification jerk.
Well, Spin Zone. I think that was a notification from E-News, who Brandon made me follow yesterday.
I made Will follow E-News on Instagram to see some of the things we can try to do.
Yeah, he emailed me, quote, follow E-News or you will be fired by the end of the day.
I said I will fire you, but I will still pay you. So,
well, I don't know what I'm still doing here then. Anyway,
Paxton Lynch.
He sucked against the Vikings, as anyone with two eyes could tell.
Right.
I think at the half he was like 4 for 9, 12 yards.
12 passing yards.
1 interception. He almost committed involuntary manslaughter on Austin Traylor when he led him into like 2 linebackers.
Right.
Some people had the audacity on Twitter to say that was Traylor's fault.
Interception?
Yeah. That was I'm going to put that one on old Paxton for leading him into oncoming traffic.
Yeah, it's just clear. It's like Paxton Lynch is just not a good quarterback.
Yeah, I think we've figured that out at this point. So anyway, the Broncos did the right thing, and they moved him down to 3rd string. Chad Kelly, who did play well against the Vikings, threw 2 touchdowns along with 1 interception, but most importantly, moved the ball. He's up to 2nd string. So it's Keenum, Kelly, and then Lynch. Lynch, apparently, according to Vance Joseph, was none too pleased with the decision. Said he didn't really understand why he was being demoted, which might be the most troubling quote of all. So what do we expect going forward for Paxton Lynch? Is this the end for him with the Broncos and maybe in the NFL altogether?
I think it's got to be the end with the Broncos. I mean, they're kind of in a weird position with the money situation with him, but he has shown no signs of improvement over 2 full seasons, 4 starts, 5 games, lots of practice, and 2 7th-round quarterbacks have proven to be better than him. It's really more of a knock, I think, on the Broncos' ability to draft quarterbacks. It's like I don't know how you go all in for a guy that had so many question marks, and during like the draft, I get a lot of people were high on Paxton Lynch as a prospect because of his athletic ability. But it's like, how many times have we seen that fucking mistake made in the NFL where they take a guy with physical tools, but one, don't understand his football intelligence and how that's going to translate to the NFL. And, especially a guy like Bill Musgrave said he only had 8 plays at Memphis. Well, he's had 2 fucking years to learn how to run an NFL offense. You can't still use that as an excuse. Like, in 2 years, like, you should know how to run a ton of NFL plays. So I don't know how they just don't see those things. And the Broncos weren't the only team that were blinded to that. Dallas wanted him. So and now it's like there's this thing in the local media in Denver where people are criticizing other media members for criticizing Paxton Lynch too much. I don't know. It's just a weird situation, and it's funny that we're still talking about quarterback battles when the Broncos have their starter in Case Keenum, and I think maybe the reason everybody's talking about it is because in the starting offenses 2 series, like, the offense looked terrible. So 2 3-and-outs. I think this week against the Bears, the thing that will erase a lot of this talk is if the Broncos offense looks decent and Keenum looks good. Because I think as good as Chad Kelly looked, he's got a lot to learn as well.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying Chad Kelly is anything close to a finished product, but if you remember, like, going back a year and a half to the draft in 2017, Chad Kelly was supposed to be, like, character concerns aside, which I don't think are really weighing him down these days as much as they were at Clemson or Ole Miss or Mississippi, right, or wherever. He probably was, I don't want to say a first rounder because I think that's a little optimistic, but he's probably like a second or third rounder.
Yeah,
and so totally. If you think about the value that the Broncos got with literally the last pick in the draft, 256, that's definitely a guy that at the very least I think you can develop into a high-end backup, maybe a starter. So, and then to Paxton Lynch, you said he didn't improve the last 2 years. I think he's gotten worse. I think he's gotten worse every year.
You'll take it a step further.
Yes. If you remember the first game that he played in against the Buccaneers, if you just watch that game, you think this guy's got a future. Like, he was firing passes.
Right.
He had a lot of confidence. He had zip on the ball. He looked athletic. Now he just looks like he's just, like, tall and slow, like Brock Osweiler. But now, I think he's just – I think he's lost a lot of confidence. He probably benefited a lot from the Kubiak system to start with.
Right.
And now I think learning a new system was probably a death sentence for him because, like, some people have reported, I think he probably likes to play, like, Madden and Fortnite and Call of Duty a little too much. Not that I would know personally, but that's what has been floated around there.
By Cecil Lammey every day on the radio.
Apparently, yeah, Cecil Lammey, Ben Albright, those people, I think they've probably friended him on Xbox and keep tabs on what he's playing. So,
I mean, if you're Paxton Lynch, what you want to do is learn enough football to get a second contract as a backup and then tank and just focus on your video game career. Because honestly, if he got good enough at some of those video games, he could probably make more money playing just gaming. And if you make enough money in the NFL, you afford yourself the luxury, the time to get good enough at those games to be an elite gamer.
Well, what's going to happen is, like, he's going to give up football and then just go to gaming full time. And then people are going to be like, this guy doesn't put in the hours gaming enough. He's out there. He's outside throwing a football.
He's outside exercising too much.
He's reading a playbook every day. So, I just don't think you can win if you're Paxton Lynch at this point. So.
No, I think a change of scenery would be good for him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think any team's going to trade anything for him, though.
No.
If the Broncos can find a trade partner, like, even if they do what the Browns did and give up and get like a 7th round 2020 pick, like it takes that salary off their hands and would free up some salary cap space, which they could use, because another concern I have right now is the defense looking a little shaky, and they're dealing with a lot of injuries. So they may have to try and sign somebody depending on how the next couple weeks pan out.
Yeah, and I think just to, not to go too long on Paxton Lynch, but the most ridiculous thing I think I saw yesterday was people floating out that maybe they should change him to a different position, like try him out at wide receiver and tight end.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
I saw that, and I was like, that's enough internet for today. And I shut my laptop, and I threw it out the window.
Dude, he is not built to play any other position in the NFL besides quarterback.
You could argue he's not built to play quarterback either.
Right? No, that's fair. Yeah. Like, if he could be a baseball player, or maybe like
he could be like a starting pitcher, maybe. Yeah, there we go. Yeah,
pitcher. He could be a pitcher. He's tall, lanky. Yeah. We know he can throw something hard. I don't think he has the accuracy to play fucking baseball, but
he's got the facial hair for baseball, definitely.
I saw that on Twitter too. I forget who tweeted out that he could be.
I think it was Chad Jensen, our old friend.
Oh, Chad. That's right. It was Chad. That's why I was surprised he would tweet that, because Chad's smarter than that.
He is.
Chad's a really smart football guy, and
we did have a talk with him.
I think he's probably just crushing us in views right now, though.
Absolutely.
With that. Chad, we love you. You're probably not listening, but that's your worst football take I've ever heard.
Yeah, in case you are, please seek help for that take. And so Chad Kelly, featured tight end for the Denver Broncos.
Paxton Lynch. You said Chad Kelly.
Fuck. Speaking of Chad Kelly, natural segue. What do you expect for him going into the Saturday preseason game against the Bears? Getting a little time against the 2s instead of the 3s.
Yeah, honestly, I think he's going to look worse. I think
probably
not by a lot, but I think the expectations right now are. I think people have higher expectations for him in this game than they do Case Keenum, based on the way he played last week. The competition's going to be a little tougher. I think he got away with some mistakes in that first game. But so I think he might not – I think he's going to look a little bit worse. Not like, oh, God, he's terrible, but like I think people are going to be brought back down to reality just a little bit. What he has, though, is confidence, obviously, that
a lot of it.
Paxton doesn't. And he's going to go out there and he's going to try to make plays, which you want to see from your quarterback. He's got a great arm. I think his throwing motion is a little weird. It's a little, long.
It looks like – I wrote about this I think on Monday, but his throwing motion looks almost identical to Johnny Unitas.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Worked out for Unitas, though, I guess.
To be fair, that was the 1950s, so we'll see if it translates to 2018. But
and it's not going to be
throwing motions.
Right. It's not going to be an issue if he's accurate with the football, because Phillip Rivers has the worst throwing motion in NFL history, right? And Correct. He's going to finish as a top 10 passer in the game. But as long as he is making his reads quickly and getting – if he's making the reads quickly, an elongated throwing motion's not going to matter. But if you're a guy like Tim Tebow, who has a long wind-up throwing motion – and you're not reading the defense quickly, you're going to throw interceptions. And so it's like one of those weird things that you just kind of look at and dissect. If you're good, it doesn't matter. But I want to see him not put the ball where it could be picked off for a pick six, which almost happened. He threw a bad interception, but he made some really good throws as well. So just more of those, there's two tight window throws to the middle of the field, which over the last couple of years, we haven't had a quarterback to be able to throw into the middle of the field. Everything's short and to the sidelines. And if we have a guy like Kelly who can work the middle of the field, I think that's a huge thing that is hard for some quarterbacks to learn. Yeah.
One thing I want from Kelly is I need him to change his jersey number. I can't work with 6. He doesn't look good with 6. You
wore got that Cutler taste in your mouth?
A little bit. Yeah. No, 6, and then it's like when Brock Osweiler wore 6 his rookie year. That was
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, that's like 2012.
What was Kelly in college? 1?
No, he was okay. So he was 10 at Ole Miss, and then he was, I think, 11 at Clemson. So obviously 10 is off the board, but 11 might be open pretty soon.
11 also very popular character from Stranger Things. So
yep. Some people would call it double dicks. I've heard that before, although I think 11's a strong number.
I've never heard anybody call 11 double dicks.
You didn't play enough high school football then. Yeah, it's a good-looking number. It makes you look taller. So I think, I'm just waiting for that number change. I think it's going to do
wearing vertical stripes instead of horizontal stripes.
Yeah, because vertical stripes always look good.
Okay. Well, that's
talking fashion.
Our deep dive into what we expect from Chad Kelly.
Yeah. This is what happens when you make me follow E! News.
Well, like they talk about football.
Like they talk about fashion. Okay, that's so true. a little more serious news coming up. The rape case, which dated back all the way to like 5 years ago when Adam Gotsis was at Georgia Tech. But it was brought up a few months ago.
Right.
And he's now been cleared. The charges have been dropped against Adam Gotsis. So it's all football for him from now on. It looks like the Broncos get one of their best defensive linemen from last year, a guy who really got better from year 1 to year 2.
Right.
I think we can agree that we just hope that, the right thing happened here and that, justice was served and taken care of one way or another.
Yeah, it's so hard, because I can't look at Gotsis the same now, right or wrong. Like I'm always going to be but is he a rapist? Like it's not fair to him if that's not true. And if it did happen, it's obviously not fair to the victim in this situation.
Yeah.
It went through the legal process, and believe me, I don't necessarily trust how that shit works, but that's what we have, and we have to assume the right thing happened.
Yeah.
But what bothers me is every time I've heard the media members talk about this, it's just a serious off the field issue with Adam Gotsis. It's just say what it is. I get that the Broncos aren't going to say that, that John Elway's not going to go out there and say that, but it's they shy around it because they don't want to say what the actual fucking thing is. And it's one of the most serious things you can be accused of. And it's a little, I don't know, I find it strange too that they bring in AJ Johnson while this thing is pending with Adam Gotsis. AJ Johnson is the college linebacker from Tennessee who spent the last 3 years fighting a rape case. And he was acquitted from that. That went to trial. A jury found him innocent. So that went through the legal process. And because that happened, you've got to move on, I guess, accordingly with it. But when you already have a player going through it, a head coach who had some weird things accused of him in college, I don't know. It just feels like they're unaware of what they're doing. And it's hard because if AJ Johnson didn't do, what happened, and I read through that case, and it is not black and white. It is a strange incident. If you read the victim's testimony, it feels one way. If you listen to his story, it feels another. And I don't know what happened. We'll never know what happened. But it's and it might not be fair to AJ Johnson. Again, it's just I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it all, but I feel like they referred to his thing, serious off-field incident as well. It's I don't know.
Yeah, no, serious off-field incident doesn't feel like they're doing justice to the severity of it.
I wish I was more articulate in how to approach these subjects, but I'm not. I just am ugh, this is messy. I'm not sure I would go there. But the reason the Broncos bring in A.J. Johnson is because the Broncos linebackers look like shit last week against Minnesota, and they need people who can stop the run and maybe cover passes. A.J. Johnson was a really good linebacker at Tennessee, so that's why he's here.
Yeah, I mean, if he was totally innocent, which I don't know anything about the case, then that would really suck for your career to have to put the ball on hold for 3 years. Like, we've seen that happen from time to time with like that one guy who was accused and acquitted of rape, not just acquitted, but like the victim, the accuser, like took back her accusation years after the case.
That was a guy, wasn't he? Did he play college in California?
He played in high school. This happened in high school.
Oh, that's right.
Couldn't play in college. The Seahawks and the Falcons ended up bringing him in. He never stuck just because, hey, like it's pretty hard to go from high school to the NFL. So I really feel bad for that guy. But A.J. Johnson, I don't know. I'd like to give everyone in this situation, Adam Gotsis included, the benefit of the doubt. And there's nothing we can do at this point other than hope that when John Elway is talking about bringing in a veteran quarterback, he's not referring to trading for Jameis Winston. So
yeah, no shit, right?
Yeah, that would be
the worst thing
of bad moves for the Broncos. But moving on to some other not as bad news, but not great news for Carlos Henderson. He's been suspended for week 1. Here's the thing, though. Hasn't reported to training camp, so I don't think it matters.
Hey, NFL, you suspended him from nothing because he's not even fucking playing.
Yeah, you might as well just suspend me from week 1, too.
Exactly.
Hey, buddy, you can't play. It's like, all right, well.
Do you think what's Antonio Callaway? That's the Browns receiver who got basically kind of pulled over for the same thing. So Carlos Henderson got pulled over and cited, or was it arrested for marijuana possession in Louisiana?
But yeah.
I can't remember if he got arrested or just Callaway got cited for marijuana, not arrested. Yeah. I wonder if the NFL is going to give him a week 1 suspension as well, because it's basically the same thing. The difference is they both play wide receiver, but Callaway has been at the Browns practices.
And Callaway is good.
Callaway is good. Carlos Henderson.
Watched Hard Knocks. We don't know.
I don't think he'll ever end up playing in the NFL, at least for the Broncos. They got to move on. Like they're 2 weeks in to preseason. Like he's done. So that's a fake suspension. Fake suspension.
It's hard to see him even landing on the practice squad at this point. Really.
Yeah. You got to be there.
He's eligible just because, he's never played in the regular season. Like he's never made the 53-man roster. But you'd probably rather see a guy who's there and working hard in training camp get that spot just because there's so few of them.
Yeah, of course you would.
And it's just like but at the same time, like it just feels so wasteful to let Carlos Henderson go. But at this point,
yeah, he's a 3rd-round draft pick. Just shuffle him in the Paxton Lynch mix of, we fucked up with this pick.
Yeah. On the bright side, if the Broncos do let him go, suddenly number 11 is available. So.
Ooh, nice. I didn't know that was his number. But
did Chad Kelly plant marijuana on Carlos Henderson? My column.
Conspiracy. Look into it, Reddit, and let us know. So heading into this game, the Broncos do have some injuries mounting up. Sue Cravens been out with his knee injury still. Safety Dymonte Thomas Hamstring, Shaq Barrett Hamstring, cornerback Michael Hunter with something. I forgot to write it down. Chris Harris Oblique, Troy Fumagalli still injured, and Paxton Lynch, of course, with a bruised ego. So that's a lot of defensive players, secondary. When you're trying to get a look at the depth there, I think that makes it tough. And it's I don't know. I think it makes it tougher to gauge like who you're going to have filling in on some of those positions, especially with Sue Cravens still not being able to get out there. It looks like Tremaine Brock will be playing as number one corner if Chris Harris doesn't play with his oblique injury. So that sets us up for the final topic here: Broncos versus Bears. Will, what do you want to see?
I want to see Royce Freeman get a few more carries, just because he looked so smooth against the Vikings.
Rob Thomas smooth, right?
Rob Thomas, Santana smooth. He got the first down of the game in the second quarter for the Broncos on his 23-yard touchdown run. He looked a lot better than Devontae Booker did in limited action. It's hard to find space on the ground when your quarterback is Paxton Lynch and he's averaging like 1.2 yards per attempt. So you're
just gonna play that
for Royce Freeman. I want to see what he does. I want to see if he can nail down that starting job, because I think he's going to be a much more effective running back than Devontae Booker. And I think that the coaches are going to lean towards Booker just because he's the veteran in this situation. It's his third year. And, for some reason, being a veteran matters at the running back position, which I'm not sure it does, because you've seen guys like Kareem Hunt last year lead the NFL in rushing, and then the year before that, it was Ezekiel Elliott who led the league in rushing.
I feel like it's the easiest position to pick up coming out of college.
Yeah, absolutely.
The only struggle there is running backs learning pass protection.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have a smart quarterback who's just it's coming from the right, it's coming from the left, you can figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
I did see D'Angelo Henderson pick up a nice blitz in that preseason game. So that's nice to see. I think the depth chart for running backs could be Royce Freeman, and then you could have Phillip Lindsay and or D'Angelo Henderson at number 2.
Yeah.
Because we didn't see a lot out of Booker. Phillip Lindsay looked really good. One thing I want to see is him get more reps as well early on, because he was playing against basically, the Vikings' third and fourth team unit. So I think it's easy for running backs to look good against those guys, kind of what D'Angelo Henderson did last year. So getting those second reps, if they mix in Henderson and Lindsay, that would be ideal. I don't think they will, because I think you're right. They're loyal to a fault with experience in Booker. But I think Lindsay could be a game-changing type back. Lindsay paired with Freeman, I think, is a really nice combo of, when you talk about the most cliche thing with two running backs, your change of pace. But that's what it is, because their running style is completely different. And Phillip Lindsay looks like he could be dangerous catching passes out of the backfield. And something really the Broncos kind of haven't had for a while is a guy they can just dump it off to, who's going to give you, a first down on a 2nd and 8 when you don't expect it, or break one off for a touchdown. So that's, I think, going to be one of the more fun things to watch in this game. What's something on the defensive side you want to see?
I just want to see them plug up the holes in the run game.
I agree.
I really just don't want the Bears to run it down their throats, although that might happen because the Bears have a pretty strong running game with Jordan Howard and Tariq Cohen. So
that's a good test.
That's number one.
Test is the Bears, because that might be the only thing they do well offensively.
Right, yeah, just get off the field early and, try to get the ball back and give Case Keenum a little more time of possession and see if the first-team offense can actually sustain a drive. Obviously, I want to see Courtland Sutton get a little more action than he did last week. I think
he's a little banged up too. Courtland Sutton's
he might be. Well, yeah, he had that apparently a scare. People thought he was going to be done with an ACL injury yesterday.
So it's his knee or something. He might get rested because of that. I don't know.
Maybe. I think the Chad Kelly promotion is really big for the number 2 receivers. Yeah, second team receivers like Craycraft, and I think Tim Patrick was basically already playing with Kelly, but Deshaun Hamilton, Courtland Sutton when he plays, because you can't really show much. Yeah, you can't really show much with Paxton Lynch throwing you hospital balls and dump off passes that are basically touching the ground. You'd much rather have Chad Kelly throwing to you.
I think just in the most simplest form, I just want to see Chad Kelly throwing to Sutton and Hamilton.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And maybe Jake Butt too, right?
Right.
Hireman might be out there with the ones this week. I think everybody's trying to hype up Hireman, but I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
And I do want to see Fumagalli, but he's got a hamstring or a leg or a butt or something. I don't know what's hurt on him.
Maybe everything.
I want to see the linebackers play better. Brandon Marshall looked rusty. Todd Davis also has some sort of injury he's been dealing with. Josie Jewell got caught out of position.
He looked great though for a few plays against the Vikings.
No, he made some plays where you see why they took him, but he wasn't consistent. Again, you're right. It's are they going to get gashed the way Minnesota did? I'm not worried about Marshall. I think he'll be fine. Darian Stewart looked good back in his natural position. That was a highlight of the defense in the secondary. And we should get a look at Tremaine Brock. So if Brock plays where Harris did too, he's going to be going up against the Bears' best receivers. But Trubisky's throwing. I don't know what that means, but we'll get a look at him. And
I do. I want to see Trubisky out of the John Fox offense,
right?
And in the Matt Nagy offense, where they're ideally going to let him throw more than 12 times a game. So I think that'll be interesting to watch from a Bears perspective. But yeah, on defense, Josie Jewell, he looks like he's got great instincts. Maybe they might lead him a little bit awry early on, but I think once he figures things out, he's going to be kind of he could end up being a Keith Brooking type player, I feel like.
Right.
Where he's not super gifted. And I know this is kind of a dog whistle just because he's white, but
slow.
Yeah, slow and not super gifted, but understands football a lot and can read run plays really well. So I'm looking forward to seeing that, definitely. Oh, and another thing, really quick, is Sua Cravens hasn't been playing, obviously, with his knee injury. Will Parks played really, really well against the Vikings.
He did.
He had the most snaps out of any player, I think, against Minnesota. So keep watching Will Parks. It could get to a point where Will Parks just takes that kind of nickel safety spot and doesn't give it back to Sua Cravens.
No, that's true. And, I mean, that's what Parks played last year, and I think that's a year of experience under his belt doing that, which is a little different than what he did the year before and in college. So you're right. And it's, they used him on that blitz where he had that sack. So if he continues to show that kind of diversity and becomes that Swiss Army knife, jack of all trades. I almost called him a jackknife.
Ours too.
Yeah, Sua Cravens might not matter. It might be the most irrelevant signing for the Broncos if Will Parks steals his job. Really. And I like Will Parks, so that's a good thing to watch. And I think finally, before we switch to the NFL, it's Isaiah McKenzie. Does he catch all the punts again?
Right.
I don't even care if he returns another one. I want to see him catch every ball back there so we don't overhype his one performance.
Yeah.
Because now I think he's got to deal with he got that confidence back. And the key for McKenzie, besides catching it, is going to be knowing when to not try and do too much. Because last year, in addition to dropping balls, he made bonehead plays trying to turn nothing into something, and it just resulted in worse field position. So that's the other thing I kind of want to watch from him.
Yeah,
this week and the next couple weeks.
That punt return against the Dolphins last year might have been the worst punt return I've ever seen and will ever seen. But yeah, if you don't think that changing jersey numbers matters, case in point, Isaiah McKenzie moved from 84 back to his college number 16.
Very, very important.
Suddenly he looks like Dante Hall / Devin Hester back there. So you decide. You decide.
He's better than them both.
All right. You want to transition?
NFL. Transitioning. We are transitioning to the NFL.
To the CFL. Oh, wait, no, fuck the NFL. All right.
You could talk CFL, Johnny Manziel.
Johnny Manziel will not play against the Edmonton Oilers. All right, that was your CFL news. Okay, so a lot of other games that didn't involve the Broncos last weekend. Some would say that there were 15 other ones. I watched a few of them. I know you watched a few of them. A lot of rookies that we got to see for the first time, a lot of rookie quarterbacks, some running backs. Which rookies impressed you, Brandon, the most in week one?
Honestly, I thought a lot of them looked pretty good. Let's see. Starting with Saquon Barkley, first carry, 39 yards. Not much after that, though. I don't put that all on Barkley. That Giants offensive line really needs to kind of come together. Baker Mayfield, I thought, was very impressive in his debut. Kind of lived up to the hype. Josh Allen, mixed bag, but I think everybody expected him to look like shit. So I thought he maybe outperformed. He did. Like, the first couple, clips I saw on Twitter of him were bad throws, but he also made some decent plays. And let's see here. Trying to think who else I watched. Denzel Ward, the Browns corner, got his first penalty out of the way with the new hitting rule. He I think, who was it? Sharp for the Giants. He tried to murder him on a hit. Got the flag, but I like to see that out of a young corner. I think we know he can cover, but seeing him come out there and pop somebody, very exciting coming from your cornerback. You expect it from safeties, not necessarily from your corner. But those were kind of the guys that stuck out in my mind. Let's see here. I'm trying to I thought the shittiest thing happened was to Darius Geis.
Yeah, that sucked.
He takes a dump off pass for a really long gain, looked faster than I thought he really was, and just gets tackled weird and tears his ACL, and the Patriots are the ones who broke him. So because it's the Patriots, because they did it to a rookie who was showing promise, really just fuck the Patriots is what I want to say there.
Connect the dots. You do the math. Yeah, because Darius Geis, he was arguably a first-round talent that got kind of pushed down for character concerns that might not be concerns at this point.
Right.
So, yeah, you hate to see that, obviously. One guy that I think probably didn't look good if you just looked at the numbers, but if you watched him play, was Josh Rosen, because he was getting low snaps out of the shotgun formation just about every time, and he was still picking them up off the ground, reading the defense pretty quickly, moving around the pocket, and then firing some pretty decent passes. He took a couple sacks. He had a couple errant throws, but I think overall I really liked what I saw. He looks a little skinny out there, which I was kind of expecting just because he was he's not a small dude. He's tall, but he's very slight. He's this big around. This is good for the audio listeners, but
he's like me.
Yeah.
He's just a little guy, except he's just 6'3"?
He's just a little guy. Yeah. But he's got one of the cleanest releases I've ever seen.
Yeah.
His footwork's immaculate. I think he's going to be really good.
I think what I noticed is he throws what looks like the best football out of all those guys.
Yeah.
Josh Allen has the cannon. Baker Mayfield is the scrappy guy who just gets the ball there. Josh Rosen just looks like he throws a really nice football. I didn't watch too much of Sam Darnold. Did you watch his play?
Yeah, I watched a little bit. He looked good too. I think he had he might have had a couple touchdown passes. I know for sure he had one. That looked pretty good. Is
he 21 yet, or is he still 20?
I think he might have just turned 21.
That's insane to me to think you're going to be commanding an NFL offense probably this season, and you're 21. That's and it gives him, I think, a good chance to maybe be the best for obviously the longest. If by 22 you can say, yeah, he's definitely our starter, he's still a year ahead of all these other dudes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's only going to get younger too, because
bold prediction. Wait.
Okay.
Hold that thought. Bold prediction.
Okay.
Sam Darnold's going to finish with all of the NFL passing records.
All right, we'll keep track. We'll keep track of that for the next 15 or so
20
years.
years.
Hey, so if he retires without all of the records, buddy, you're going on freezing cold takes.
Bring it on, freezing cold takes in the year 2038.
Yes. Yeah, we'll just make a note. Hopefully I remember. No, I'll remember. It's okay. What was I going to say? Shit.
I told you to hold that thought.
Oh, Teddy Bridgewater looked the best out of all the Jets quarterbacks. He looked really, really good, and I think the Jets would be dumb not to start him.
Yeah, if the Jets don't start him, again, he should go to Jacksonville.
Or Tampa.
Oh, yeah, Tampa. That's what we said, right? We already talked about this, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we were telling Tampa to trade for Nick Foles and then trade for Teddy Bridgewater.
Right. Tampa Bay. Yeah. Okay.
I think if the Broncos traded for Bridgewater, he might beat out Case Keenum at this point. Like, he looked really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's –
I don't think it's going to happen, obviously.
I forget if I already said that or if it's in my next episode, but I said Teddy Bridgewater looks like the only – talking about bringing in a vet. Like, he's the one guy you could bring in, you could argue could play as good as Case Keenum, if not, with the potential to be better than him. But that's not what you would want to do. Like, in terms of what you've committed to with Case Keenum, bringing in Teddy Bridgewater would be like a weird move.
Yeah, and again, like, he could just step the wrong way and his knee could re-shatter into 10 trillion pieces. Yeah. And then you've got Chad Kelly and Paxton Lynch as your only two quarterbacks. So maybe not a great move.
Yeah. So then we have Jalen Ramsey with the quote machine this week.
Yeah, he had some opinions on quite a few quarterbacks.
Do you have those quotes pulled up?
Okay, I think I have them memorized. In your head? Yeah. So I think I have all the quarterbacks that he talked about and then a 1 or 2 word opinion on them. So Matt Ryan, he said who? Which he's the quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons, so maybe Jalen Ramsey should pay more attention. Joe Flacco, bad. He thinks he's bad. And he thinks
he sucks.
Oh, I'm sorry. He sucks.
He said Matt Ryan was overrated. He said Joe Flacco sucks.
Right. Yeah, he said Matt Ryan was a product of Kyle Shanahan, which I don't think is entirely true. I think he made him better. But I'm not here to argue with Jalen Ramsey because that's not a war I can win. Mm-mm. Josh Allen, trash, he said. Jimmy Garoppolo was a product of the system, like Matt Ryan, apparently, even though he's been really good in 2 systems.
Right.
So take that as you like. Lamar Jackson is apparently going to be really good, even though he's probably looked the worst out of the rookie quarterbacks. That's just me. What else? Who else? Trying to think. Drew Brees, he said is good despite being old, which that's a really hot take, Jalen. Congratulations on that one. Am I forgetting anybody? I know I am.
Yeah, your memory, you said you had this in memory.
I thought I did.
You couldn't be
Big Ben.
Further from the
Okay. Big Ben, he said it was decent. Jared Goff, he said was average to above average.
Right.
That's all I can remember at this point. Oh, Phillip Rivers, he said pretty good.
Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady doesn't suck. Marcus Mariota, I think Marcus Mariota is a great quarterback for their team. Tyrod Taylor, I think Tyrod Taylor is actually a better quarterback than he gets credit for because he does not make mistakes. Deshaun Watson, Carson Wentz, league MVPs in a couple years. Dak Prescott, he's good. He's all right. He's okay. I'll put it that way. Kirk Cousins, I think he's good. I think he's a winner.
Based on what?
Those guys, doesn't have the greatest win record, which is funny. Thinks good.
Made the playoffs once.
Won't say Eli Manning's good. I think Russell Wilson is good. So a lot of opinions. Blake Bortles, Blake do what he got to do. That's a nice way of saying I don't think he's that good.
Yeah, kind of to the greater point.
He doesn't think Andrew Luck's that is that good. I think that's his hottest take.
Well, okay. I think we can safely say that Jalen Ramsey is not the best evaluator of quarterback talent. I think a lot of these guys he hasn't even played against yet because he's been in the NFL for 2 years at this point.
I love it though. Like, I love a player just saying shit that's on his mind, because so
It's good
often you
content,
get the
but
opposite of that. To say some guy sucks, you'd never hear players say that. To say, and
how
it's
many?
Joe Flacco, like, take off my beard and I am Joe Flacco. So I
Just with a
think
better arm.
more
Throw the ball
accurate
a little
arm.
further.
He's got a
Okay.
stronger. He's got a stronger arm than me. He can
Yeah,
throw it
I'll
farther.
concede.
But those 10-yard passes all day, I'm better.
Mm-hmm.
I like Jalen Ramsey. I like players that talk a ton of shit until they talk about the Broncos. And I thought it made for fun. I thought it was entertaining.
Entertaining. Disagree on the part about liking him. I do not like him. I think he's annoying. I obviously think he's really, really good. But I think he's kind of becoming a little bit of I'm just going to say the C word here. So, hey, if anybody's got their kids around, please turn this off. I'm going to say the C word. He's a locker room cancer.
Maybe. I don't know.
Because, yeah, he got suspended in the preseason. Who gets suspended in the preseason? By their own team.
Yeah,
he was trying to start a war with the Jacksonville media, which I'm sure all three of them were very worried about getting on Jalen Ramsey's bad side.
Yeah, he shouldn't do that right now, because this is the first time Jacksonville's been relevant in a long time. So you want the media to continue to sing your praises.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe that'll be an issue as a bigger picture look at the situation. But I think every week they should do Jalen Ramsey power rankings for different positional groups in the NFL. So 1 week it's tight ends, 1 week it's wide receivers, 1 week it's quarterbacks, running backs, and then 1 week it's cornerbacks. I want to know what he thinks about other corners, really.
Wow. I'm going to go on a limb and say he probably thinks he's the best.
Yeah, I mean, that's safe to say, but I like him more than Deion Sanders, the way they talk trash. So
I can say this. He's a better tackler than Deion Sanders.
That's right.
Which even trying to tackle would make you a better tackler than Deion Sanders, to be fair.
That's true.
Okay, so, yeah, Big Ben has a concussion.
Ben Roethlisberger, concussion.
Any thoughts?
I bring this up because I wanted to ask you, do you think diagnosing Ben Roethlisberger with a concussion is the hardest job in the NFL for an NFL doctor?
Yeah, I think for like him and Gronk, I think it's nearly impossible. Yeah, I think Big Ben was born with a concussion.
Right. It's like, to me, Big Ben's face just always looks like he has a concussion.
Yeah.
Gronkowski, his mind, you can never tell if it's cognitive enough to evaluate whether or not he has a concussion. So I just wanted to say cheers to the doctors who were able to figure that out.
Yeah. Big Ben goes into like the doctor's office and they're like, "Oh my God, your nose is broken." And he's like, "No, that's just how it is.
That's how it is.
It's just like that now." Yeah, Big Ben concussed. Thoughts and prayers.
Let's see here. Okay, Aaron Donald, Khalil Mack. We've talked about them, I feel like, the last 2 weeks. They still are not signed, okay? And rumors this week were Donald and the Rams were close to signing a deal. And then that was kind of debunked by Sean McVay, saying, like, everything's about the same. So I don't know what to believe here. I thought, oh, cool, Donald's going to get the deal. And my take that he's going to sign before Khalil Mack was going to be right. But now it looks like neither of them are any closer. And it's a little crazy because you could still argue they're the best player on both of their fucking teams.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, like, I still, like, nothing's changed from last week. I still don't know where the Rams are going to get the money to sign him.
No. Well, yeah. And like I said, you can find money. Somebody criticized me for saying money's not real. Called me a lib. I was like, it's the NFL money I'm talking about. Salary cap is fluid, and you can find ways to make it work is what I meant.
Yeah, they can find, like, I don't know, they could find like $25 million a year, like, under their couch cushions or something.
It's like you just make it all a signing bonus. It's all about how it counts against the cap. I don't know. But
you could probably pay him in Bitcoin at this point.
The one difference right now, I think, is Khalil Mack has a ton of trade rumors floating around.
Yes.
Every team is saying like, oh yeah, I could see. It was the Packers at first. Who else did I see as Khalil Mack trade rumor?
We'll find this out. But in the meantime, I think the difference is that the Rams really, really want to sign Aaron Donald and are struggling to do so. And the Raiders don't really seem like they're making that much of an effort to sign Khalil Mack, which might be the worst thing that John Gruden could do at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird situation. I can't find who I thought was the other team. People were talking about Khalil Mack trading, but more teams want him now. And I think every week he's not there, something like that gets closer to happening. So,
yeah, because at some point, like, you know what, this gets stretched out long enough where all of a sudden, you know, he's questionable for week one. He misses week one.
We talk about the Saints draft last year being really good. The Raiders took Mack, Carr, and Gabe Jackson all in the same draft, and they're about to let Khalil Mack maybe go. Like, that was a solid draft for the Raiders, which is probably the first solid draft they had in 10 years. So the fact that you got Mr. Raider coming in, John Gruden, not trying to keep their best player is weird at best.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Josh McDaniels coming in 2009 and promptly getting rid of your Pro Bowl quarterback. So maybe not the best way to win a fan base over, although for some reason Raiders fans are really attached to John Gruden. Even though, like, last week we said that he never won anything for them, and in fact he beat them in the Super Bowl pretty handily with Tony Dungy's players. But you think John Gruden would know better than anybody how important defensive talent is.
Yeah, especially as your edge rusher, as one of the top 5 edge rushers in the league.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes you wonder, like, he goes into Tampa Bay, he's like, all right, I like the roster. However, let's get rid of Derek Brooks, Simeon Rice, and John Lynch. And maybe he just had someone to tell him no at that point. And now he's making $100 million to coach the Raiders, and who's going to tell John Gruden no?
Maybe
he's been on ESPN for 10 years.
Should have used some of that money for Khalil Mack.
Some people are saying.
Even though coach money doesn't count towards the salary cap, which I think it should, by the way.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The Raiders are such like a poor franchise that might just be all their money. Like, they might not have any more.
Mark Davis makes $0 for next 10 years.
I'm just saying, like, Mark Davis is one of the poorest owners, and I know that's like saying like the tallest midget, but like
he only has $1 billion.
No, like, he doesn't have a lot of money. It's not like Al Davis was some billionaire who bought the Raiders. He was a coach who worked his way up to ownership somehow.
No, he built them.
Yeah, I know, but he's like not. I don't think he's swimming in cash. Although, I think he's lost a lot of his money at P.F. Chang's over the years. But
Mark Davis, net worth, you're right, $500 million.
Yeah, which for an owner is
that's chump
change. Not a ton. Obviously, he's paying $100 million to Gruden over the next 10 years. So
it's 1/5 of his net worth.
Yeah.
All right, let's crank out the rest of this fucking thing.
Let's do it.
People can leave. Okay, I said we'll talk about Vikings versus Jags. We're going to just do that very briefly because we've wasted too much time. We got a good look at the Vikings. And the only reason I wanted to talk about this is because I think they're going to each have one of the best defenses in the league this year. So I think that preseason game is actually interesting to watch. Also because Trevor Siemian looked pretty damn good against the Broncos, but I want to see how he looks going against that Jacksonville defense. Even though it'll be a second team, I think there's a lot of depth there. And I think Siemian might look terrible against them.
It's possible. Kirk Cousins looked pretty much perfect against the Broncos. So I've been hearing that he hasn't been playing particularly well in the joint practices with the Jaguars. So we'll see if that kind of keeps up or he turns it on game day. Who knows?
Let's see if Jalen Ramsey's right and Kirk Cousins is a winner.
Well, here's the thing. It's a lose-lose for Jalen Ramsey because either Kirk Cousins beats him and he loses,
and he's
or
right.
The Jaguars beat the Vikings and Kirk Cousins doesn't look like a winner, so he's wrong.
He's fucked either way,
Yeah,
basically.
I heard that, like, out of all the quarterbacks he talked about in that GQ article, he talked about 13 of the 16 quarterbacks that he's facing this year.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, like 13 of the 16 opponents, I guess.
Yeah, well, that's a good stat.
So that's interesting. Hate to see that. Lions concession prices. So the Lions announced that they're going to sell beer on game days for $5, and they're going to sell hot dogs for $2. Should we become Lions fans is my question.
If you're going to attend more than one game a year, yes.
I think so.
That's the best deal in the country, I would have to imagine. I think
the Falcons are pretty good.
Falcons have cheap prices too, right?
Yeah.
It's nice that the organization's doing that because they basically, with the secondary ticket market, you get fucked trying to buy tickets.
Yep.
Parking. If you're trying to take a family of 4 to a football game, you're going to spend $1,000.
Yeah.
Like, if you buy tickets on the secondary market, you're going to pay way too much there. You're going to pay way too much for parking. And then you're going to have to buy like $8 beers, $10 beers, depending where the hell you're at. Your hot dogs are the same price. There's no hot dog on earth worth that much money. So hopefully more teams do it. And I don't know, start treating their fans the way they deserve to be treated instead of just taking advantage of them every year.
Yeah, it's really simple economics. Like, if you make your beer $15, like, I don't know, Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, 49er Stadium, I'm probably only going to buy one. But if you make them $5, I'll probably buy 8. I'll probably spend more.
Right.
And that's just, like, me, like, I don't know. That's just me showing appreciation as a consumer.
I guess
people are willing to –
the flip side of that is, though, if you make them expensive, you get less insane drunk people maybe at your game. That's not true because people just drink more before the game. So people are going to get wasted. People are going to get as drunk as they possibly can at football games every week, whether or not the beer prices are affordable or not.
Hot dogs, $2. That's like – it might as well be free. Like, I'll just buy 10.
Yeah.
I'll buy 10. Okay, so have you heard about this challenge? Someone at Barstool was doing it. It's like a baseball challenge where over 9 innings, you have to drink 9 beers and eat 9 hot dogs. Do you think you could do it?
No. I mean, I don't want to do it.
I don't want to do it either.
I can eat a lot.
I think I could do it.
The beers would get me.
You got to really, like so I wonder, like, if you could just, like, drink, like, 3 beers right away, like, in the first inning, and then kind of let them stagger throughout the 8 remaining innings. But the more I think about it, I think I could really do it.
You should try the challenge.
All right, here's my promise.
Make video of it.
Here's my promise.
We'll put it on the channel.
If the Rockies make the playoffs, or, you know what, if the Rockies are still in it by September 15th, I will watch the Rockies game, and I will do the 9-inning challenge.
From home?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll set up a webcam. I'll make a video.
Live stream that shit.
That, or I might just edit it down so people don't have to stare at my face cramming hot dogs and beers into my mouth for 3.5 hours.
Right. Here's what I'll say. The last baseball game I went to, I think I drank 6 beers, and I regretted it. Like, I've talked about my body just – I had such a terrible headache, like, that night and for the rest of the next day. 9 beers? I don't think so, man. So look, I support your endeavor to do this, though.
I'm more committed to the channel, to That's Good Sports, than my own body at this point.
Good.
So I'll do it. I'll make a video.
There we go.
I'm not saying I won't regret it. I'm just saying that I'm capable of doing it. And I will regret it later.
If you puke, you got to get footage of the puke. We have to see you puke on camera.
Am I disqualified if I throw up? Is it like the hot dog eating challenge? or
No,
contest?
I think it's part of the your strategy.
Yeah, maybe. I might. Yeah.
I just think it's going to naturally be what happens to your body, but we'll see.
I don't know. I think you underestimate me. Like, I'm 22. I think I can do this. I like the longer I wait, the worse I'm going to be at it. So I might as well get it done soon.
Well, that's something to look forward to.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
We'll close this out. We were going to talk about Hard Knocks and Carl Nassib's financial advice and how he is misleading his players. He's talking about 10% interest returns, which you're not going to get in any sort of savings account or CD account. If you're a good investor, you can get 10% return on investments, which is different than just putting your money in a bank. So I think Carl, one of his teammates, called him out in week 2. So just keep your eyes on Carl Nassib, and we will follow his financial advice and remind everybody how wrong he is every week.
Yeah, I think Carl Nassib is going to turn out to be the next Bernie Madoff. I think he's just
scheming all his teammates out of money.
Yeah. No, this is the classic case of like a big time meathead in college who just like sat in on like 2 finance classes, and now he thinks he's like fucking Jim Cramer.
Well, he's right in that a lot of financial advisors do take advantage of players, and other people have lost a lot of money for them. But if you go to a proven smart financial advisor, the 1% of what they take from you is going to probably be a lot more. It's going to be a lot safer than what you try to do with your money in the financial market, unless, of course, you actually understand where to invest and how to invest and have a diverse portfolio.
Yeah. So I just want to make this clear to the listeners that you can't just save money and then expect a 10% interest rate.
No, you get if you have a good interest rate, it's 2%.
Yeah. That's like you're doing really
found
really
a
well.
sweet spot.
10%, that's just not going to happen.
Not happening anywhere.
I think the banks would explode if that were the case.
And concludes your financial podcast here. That's Good Money, starring Will Keys and Brandon Perna. Please follow Will on Twitter at WillKeys6. Check out his writing. That's goodsports.com. And if you made it to this part of the video, just hashtag money signs. Hashtag as many money signs as you can. And that's it. Oh, that's it. Just kidding. Love you. Bye.
Wait a second.
Okay, no, wait.
That's it. No, that's it.
Now we're
That's
done.
it. That's it.